everyone, my name is Allison. I'm a Portuguese student at Tulane University, and today I'm going to be talking about protest art in Brazil. Protest art is really important because it draws attention to a political cause in a very public manner, and it's particularly important because of Latin America, because of the artistic tradition of flourishing under repression, such as from colonialism or from the brutal dictatorial regimes of the late 20th century. For example, under the dictatorship in Brazil, the artist Sildo Morales created the project Insertions in Ideological Circuits. He took Coke bottles and wrote messages on them like Yankees go home and instructions for a Molotov cocktail. But when the bottles were empty, it was nearly impossible to see these messages, and the bottles were able to enter the recycling facilities. They were filled with Coca-Cola, and then it was possible to see these political messages as they went out into the general population. This was Morales' way of disseminating political messages in a subversive and highly public manner. A start in Brazil is the visual protests against the World Cup in 2014. This is a piece of graffiti protesting the idea that they need food and not spending on these sporting events. A performance protest in Rio de Janeiro in June of 2013. They put 500 soccer balls with red crosses on them on Copacabana Beach, one of the most populated tourist areas in Rio. And each of these soccer balls represented 100,000 lives, so 500,000 lives in total that could have been saved if money was diverted from these sporting events to more social spending. More recently, during the Brazilian crisis, an artist in Rio put red bandanas over the eyes of all the statues of historical figures in the city. This was to suggest that these historical figures should not have to stand by helplessly and watch the country descend into ruin. Here we have a statue of Princess Isabel, Mahatma Gandhi, Alencar Castelo Branco, who was the first president after the dictatorship. So the political figures that were chosen for this project spanned all decades, all political ideologies. Another really important piece of visual art during the current protests is the giant duck, and it's associated with the slogan "Não vou pagar o pato," or "I'm not going to pay the bill." The duck first made the appearance on the lawn of the National Congress in October of 2015 to protest proposed higher taxes to solve the economic crisis. And in these street protests, Brazilians have responded and said that no, they will not pay the bill for the tab that these Brazilian leaders have run up with their corruption and greed. Another visual aid that's used during the protests are the pichulecos. These are inflatable dolls of Lula and Dilma Rousseff. They come in handheld sizes or in larger street balloons for the protests in Sao Paulo. Graffiti has also been really important in the current political protests in Brazil. This piece of graffiti says Lava Jato Olímpico, referencing both the Operation Lava Jato scandal and its connection to the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio. A feminist symbol posted on the house of a community organizer whose home was demolished to make room for Olympic construction. For Dilma, which roughly translates to Dilma out, is a really popular slogan being used during the current protests, and it's also become the hashtag of the impeachment movement on social media. In conclusion, protest art is important because it incorporates the issues in a way that draws attention and discussion, and it highly focuses on interacting with the public sphere, which is important for any political movement. Thank you all for listening.